My fingers gripping my leather clutch, I stood at Belmont's door. I saw laughter, wine cups raised, and some secret celebration through the amber light of old chandeliers. My folks, the maitre d' grins at me, have trained kindness. Miss? Your name? My mother's voice slices across the dining room before I can respond. Oh, at last there she is. Heads turn now. As I advance, I feel the weight of the inquisitive looks from passers-by. My heels softly click on marble to record every stride. Though basic, my black dress is well tailored, the type that whispers success instead than yells it. They had positioned themselves at the best table in the restaurant, one with view of the downtown cityscape I once dreamt of being part of. Mom. Relative Ralph, cousin. His spouse, Maeve. A present from my father before illness claimed him in my sophomore year of college. The light strikes the ruby pendant around my mother's neck. Stopping at the table, I notice right away what they have chosen not to see. There isn't a chair for me. Ralph sprawls luxuriously, one arm stretched over the rear of his chair and the other clutching an expensive amber glass. Before his words come, his smile shows. This table is for family, he continues, not thinking about lowering his voice. Go outdoors to locate a space. The pair seated at the next table stops mid-conversation, clearly uncomfortable. Valentina, do not approach it incorrectly. Maeve joins in with poison flavored with sweetness. Ralph is only pulling a joke. Nonetheless, he isn't, and everyone knows this as well. I pull a chair from a neighboring table, my face revealing nothing, and say nothing. The sound sharp against the soothing piano music in the restaurant as the legs scratch on the floor. Not meeting my eyes is my mother. Once the pillar of our family, Ariana now only another vertebra twisted to suit Ralph's posturing. She works with her napkin, ironing imagined creases. She says eventually, late, as if my presence 15 minutes early had upset their decades-long story. I find my mismatched chair comfortable. Traffic is, I'll lie. The fact is that without any strategic benefit, I spent 20 minutes sitting in my vehicle deciding whether to visit Oliver's. Watching them clink glasses, I see a surface of recollection, vivid and unwelcome. 4 years ago, my childhood bedroom was just plain walls. Cardboard boxes piled at the entrance holding everything I had. My father had replied, leaning against the doorframe, "This business idea of yours is just another phase." Not annoyed, worst, dismissive. When reality settles in, you'll be back. That day, I had moved into a tiny apartment where the kitchen table served as my first office workstation. I developed one customer at a time, ate ramen cooked in a microwave that ignited if you ran it too long, and worked 18-hour days. I had phoned home first Christmas. As my mother said they were just having a modest party, the background noises of laughing and clinking glasses had filled her explanation, one I received no invitation to. Instead of opening a bottle of champagne with my 2 staff members to toasts to people who believe in themselves when no one else would, Rudy and Corp signed my first 6-figure contract of affirmation that transformed everything I had hoped to call for. Valentina? Valentina, earth to you. Ralph fingers in front of my face quickly. I blink, straightening in my chair. Sure, Maeve says, turning her diamond tennis bracelet as we have been discussing farts. I went in January with Ralph. The Rothschilds were lodging at our resort, actually. I drink some water here. 3 days ago, my mother's desperate phone call had broken our usual pattern of polite monthly check-ins. Sweetheart, it has been quite long. Everybody missed you. Her voice had that unique quality, the one that conveys more in stillness than in words. But loneliness is a strong motivator. Some deep part of me still yearned for a seat at the family table. Now I notice Ralph's new Rolex glinting as he gestures a watch pricier than the monthly fee for my first office space. Maeve's handbag flopped sloppily on an unoccupied chair, the designer emblem clearly facing outward. Their discussion veers from luxury purchases to private holiday locations, with the frenzied intensity of artists who have forgotten their next phrase. I avoid participation. I glance at it. The server shows in with coffee. I put my hands around the cozy cup and watch the theater open out front. You know, tonight I am indulging. Ralph taps the menu with force. The Wagyu ribeye. And let's do the Bordeaux for 2015. He says the waiter without checking at their cost. Too little time in life for inexpensive meals. Maeve nods fervently. For me, lobster. Maybe we might start with champagne. There is a unique event here. We ought to treat ourselves. They order the most costly stuff on the menu one by one, glancing knowingly when they believe I'm not looking. Compliant but uncomfortable, my mother fidgety with her napkin. Understanding dawns, I cover my little grin behind my coffee cup. I now clearly realize why I am here. Then I warned the Andersons that waterfront homes in this market are almost giving themselves away, Ralph adds, whirling his glass with almost apathetic care. That afternoon they signed the forms, 2 half-hour periods, 2 hours of precisely timed dialogue surrounding me like water around a stone. Ralph's voice raises half an octave every time I open my lips to speak, drowning out my words before they can find root. Nobody gives work talks during dinner any thought. He breaks off as I start talking about our company's European market growth. His hand wanders lazily in the air between us. Here we are catching up on family events, family belongings. As if I am not a family man. As if the labor I do in daily life is somehow less important than his created real estate successes. I drink water deliberately, consciously noting every little change. The waiter has 4 times replenished my drink. I hardly have touched my meal. Observing, hearing, educating. For someone who works nonstop, you look great. Maeve may remark on her eyes, searching my face for indications of tiredness. Have you ever left that workplace of yours, really? She starts telling her spa weekend before I could respond. She said with practiced ease the terms renewal and self-care. Reaching across the table, my mother's fingertips almost graze my wrist. She continues, her grin pinched at the margins. Let us all just enjoy being together. Too long has gone by now. Whose is that blame of theirs? Though I nearly ask, do not. I nod instead and cut a little chunk of my unspoiled fish. Oh, Ralph, my mother says unexpectedly. Tell Valentina about that new spot we visited last month, the Italian one with Venetian glass-made chandeliers. I laid my fork down deliberately. In last month, a clumsy stillness falls, short yet weighty. We try to do this once a month, Maeve says, looking at her manicure. Family supper, convention dictates. One I just learned about in a tradition, I say. The insight sitting in my gut like ice. Ralph coughs out his throat. Well, operating your own business and everything, you're usually rather busy. The little stings, as expected, are precisely perfect. I straighten in my chair very subtly, not too busy for family if invited. The eyes of my mother fly frantically between us. More wine by everybody? Ralph grabs the chance to change subject matter. Speaking about business, he leans forward and his Rolex catches the eye. Recently, the market has been terrible. Last week, 3 agreements passed through. He fixes me a sharp stare. Nobody can be swimming in success everywhere. I pick out the play right away. The proposition of conflict. The suggestion of need. Mercedes you were looking at may have to wait, Maeve adds, gently resting her hand on his arm. Such a challenging time to be making large purchases. She starts looking at me. I had been looking for anything to replace my Audi, but these days everything is simply too costly, even the lowest models. My mother nods compassionately, then says, Valentina has been very lucky financially with her company growing as it has. That's where it is. The arrangement is lovely in simplicity, yet crystallizes before me. The priciest restaurant, the extravagant directives, the tales of financial difficulty accompanied by deliberate comparisons to my prosperity. They invited me nowhere to supper. They asked to see my wallet. The waiter comes with a leather-bound check folder tucked in his palms and a practiced timing. Ralph catches his eye and gives a little nod. The folder thumbs softly and settles squarely in front of me. I reach for it, not right away. The quiet stretches, laden with expectancy. R. We neither purchase. Ralph replies at last, reclining with a victorious grin. I appreciate Valentina's meal. You are free to say, right? We thought because you're doing so well. Everybody focuses on me. The fingers of my mother twirl her napkin tensely. Maeve's grin flimsy at the margins. Ralph exudes deserved confidence. In my handbag buzzes my phone. I get it and only glance at the screen. Meeting scheduled at 9 p.m. confirmed. We locked in the Singapore contract. Roy, celebrating wherever you can make it in the workplace. In my thoughts, an image develops. Roy, my business partner, remained until 3 in the morning. Helped me to complete our first big proposal. Layla from development offered me soup to get me overcome a fever to reach a deadline. Ruby from legal, who felt our vision sufficient to quit her corner office at a top company. Those who spotted my potential, honored my successes, helped me through difficult times. My selected relatives. The difference is striking and clear. Blood relationships may not always translate into love, respect, or loyalty. Those values have to be acquired via constant behavior and mutual respect. I grab the check gently and closely study it. The table exhales together, relief spreading over their faces. The shoulders of my mother let down. The depth of Ralph's smile increases. Maeve moves on to her next idea while adjusting her luxury handbag. I drop the bill straight front of Ralph. When I speak, it's quiet, yet forceful. You are not my personal ATM. The quiet that comes next is perfect. Ralph's face flushes crimson. Maeve's lips open slightly. No words come to me. First to bounce back is my mother. Valentina, honey. Her speech adopts the placating tone she employed when I was a little kid experiencing a trying event. Surely you can assist them a little. Families are what we are. Families. We hang around with this term. Its message spun out of reach. Family, in their definition, is I give and they take. My prosperity becomes shared property, while my hardships become my obligations. I look straight at my mother. We are family indeed. For this reason, I merit the same respect you would show anybody other seated at this table. Ralph's hands start to quell first. A little tremor creeps up his arms as the truth of my denial settles in. 2,000 meticulously grown entitled, falling on the seawall of my peaceful dignity. I stand here picking up my handbag, not in rage or hurry, but with the patient motions of a woman recovering her value one boundary at a time. Have you ever had to defend yourself from relatives trying to capitalize on your success? Using what phrases did you define limits? The measure rests between us, leather-bound and commanding. 220 for one supper. Ralph looks at me, his expression first in smugness, then in doubt, as I go toward my bag. The flush starts at his collar and creeps upward. Stachys, a redder with wrath. You cannot be serious. His voice becomes louder, catching looks from nearby diners. You produce more than any of us taken together. I drink once more my coffee, appreciating its bitter warmth. That has nothing bearing on the orders placed. Frenny slants forward, the sweetness in her voice curdling. If we known you would be so small-minded about it, we would not have purchased all this. Her fancy bracelet draws the eye as she points toward the half-empty wine bottles, the uneatable dessert dishes. My mother touches my arm with somewhat shaky fingers. Perhaps we could divide it somehow. You half, we will handle the other half. Approaching is the restaurant manager, his trained grin narrowing at the edges. Everything is good here? Some caught my eye as well. Care. His eyes sweep between our strained expressions and the unbroken banknote. Professional concern hardly covers suffering. Underneath my cool front, emotions collide like storm waves. Anger, letdown, an unusual, unanticipated sadness for what this family may have become. For weeks we had been organizing this meal. At last, Ralph confesses, his voice lowering to a hoarse whisper. Mom's call never gets returned by you. You are too busy for family get togethers. Our intended course of action was what? Consult. I say simply, do not control. Maeve's beautiful mask slides even further. Unless anything benefits you, you never show up for family events either. The charge lingers between us, weighty with irony she cannot identify. When have I ever been really invited? I count silently her. Christmases last 3 times. The memorial service anniversary of Dad. Your housewarming. I was there alone myself. Everyone else brought companions and hardly noticed. Mother dabs with her napkin at her eyes. We just assumed you would not be interested in family service. She murmurs, tears building. Difficulties abound. I was not sure how else to approach you. Difficult by what? I push, already dubious about the response. Maeve and Ralph look at one another. I was laid off from work 3 months back. Ralph sits at his plate, the admission obviously hurting him. Our company shrunk when the real estate market crashed. He's been searching everywhere, Maeve says rapidly. Still, we have appearances to keep up. You comprehend that. I find myself thinking about the Rolex on his wrist. Maeve sent last month some pictures of her European holiday. The luxury purse produced on a separate chair. Maeve admits, her words almost audible. Our credit cards are maxed out. She all of them. The image clarifies, preserving the appearance of achievement even while debt drowns one. And I am the appointed life raft. Remember my 8th grade science fair first prize for a solar energy project I created on my own? Neither of my parents showed up. They were commemorating Ralph's passing algebra with the lowest needed minimum grade. My family politely applauded my valedictorian address, or my high school graduation, then showy swooning over my cousin's entrance into a C-average public college, working 2 jobs to pay for education as they show family holiday pictures from Cancun. Valentina, we know how committed you are to your academics, so sorry you missed us. The Christmas after my company's founding, when Valentina's acting entrepreneur now boldly said to the extended family, let's find out how long till she returns to the real world. Holiday events where I came alone because job took over my life, even if they brought welcoming friends right away. Family gatherings where my expanding company's achievements were purposefully overlooked and replaced with other, more easily flowing themes. 2 years ago, Thanksgiving reminded me. I inquired gently. Ralph becomes perplexed by this seeming non sequitur. I arrived with the Westfield account just now. It overnight quadrupled the income of my business. You remarked, Valentina, when I suggested it, and I quote, nobody wants to hear about your small business over dinner. That was just a joke, he whispers, but his eyes dart away from mine. And last summer's 4th of July cookout for Mom? You told everyone I was attempting to appear important and switched the topic to Maeve's new automobile when I announced we had opened a new office downtown. Mother moves uneasily. She never has spoken up for me against these slights. And now my little business makes me worth asking for money. I one finger touch the banknote. Interesting time. The manager comes back, his professional manner intact, but his goal very apparent. I'm sorry for stopping, but other visitors are waiting. We will soon have to settle the debt. His kind comments have great urgency. Ralph's anger bursts out. Good, you have made your point. Simply pay half. Maeve quickly taps at her phone, clearly texting pals for emergency loans. From her increasingly terrified look, the answers are not positive. Nobody is responding. She hearses at Ralph. Ralph reaches for his wallet and turns its contents over with increasing anxiousness. A membership card, a license to drive, one $20 note. Mother opens her handbag, hands shaking, and looks for a credit card they all know is already maxed up. The manager moves from one foot to another, changing his weight. Please let us settle this debt right now. My mother takes out a checkbook, hardly used at all. The cover is still perfect. Valentina kindly murmurs, only once. I consider all the only once events that would surely follow. The slow reduction in limits, the justified expectations that would develop with every concession. You placed an order for it. You afford it, I reply, addressing each of their gaze in turn. I simply owe it for my coffee. I set aside $10 for coffee and cash on the table. 6 for the server having to see this family drama. Ralph holds the edge of the table. You actually allow public humiliation of your own mother? No, I say. The term is more biting than I had meant. But I would let grown-ups deal with the consequences of their decisions. Given self-respect, what price would you assign? I know my response when I examine the $2,200 bill and the family that conspired for weeks to control me into paying it. You'll be sorry humiliating us in this way. Ralph hisses, slanted over the table until his breath smells like the pricey bourbon. His voice is low enough for surrounding diners not to hear the words, but loud enough to guarantee everyone at our table does. Family warmth's veneer has disappeared like morning mist beneath a strong sun. Maeve's eyes flood with tears, exactly timed. 2 droplets slip down her cheeks, leaving traces over her foundation. Yet strangely, her mascara is not disturbed. She continues, her voice grabbing on the word family with practiced accuracy. I can't believe you would do this to your own family. Mother fidgets with her ruby necklace, whirling it back and forth on its chain. After all we have done for you. With every tense motion, the pendant catches the light and creates little crimson reflections dancing over the immaculate white tablecloth. Valentina responds without meeting my gaze. Please. Once everything we have done for you. The sentence floats between us, a query without a question mark. I go back in memory looking for precisely what they have done for me beyond providing conditional affection with strings attached like puppet masters. Just minutes ago, their united front, their arrogant conviction that I would pay this outrageous debt starts to break like thin ice under too much weight. Ralph opens his wallet and deliberately slams down a credit card with dramatic force. The manager passes it through the machine, then comes back grinning tightly. I apologize, sir. This card has been turned down. Ralph's face flashes. He generates yet another card, then another. Every time the manager comes back, he looks apologetically. Maeve passes over her own card, her fingers quivering slightly as she searches her fancy pocketbook. I'm sorry, ma'am. My coffee now cold in my hands as I see this show take shape. Their expectations weigh heavily on me. This trap they have set lays mostly over my shoulders. But something changes within me as they rush to answer an issue totally of their own invention. Beside my unbroken coffee cup, I put a $5 note on the table. For my coffee, I say, adding yet another 20. 3 sets of eyeballs swing toward our server as well, every showing a distinct taste of despair. Ralph opens his mouth, but I hold his stare with such unwavering calm that his words pass before his lips. I am only letting everyone own their decisions. Looking at every family member in turn, I say, my voice neither furious nor satisfied, just resolved. Every one of us makes choices. Every one of us lives with results. I get my bag and rise. My shoulders, which have been tense with strain since I first entered Belmont's, immediately relax. As if I had dropped a weight I have been carrying for years. I feel taller, straighter. The manager lets his throat clear. Maybe someone else you might ask for help with the cost. Ralph draws out his phone and his nose flares. He moves away from the table, his back stiff as he calls someone that obviously hurts him more than any physical ailment could. Maeve's fingers rush to her wrist, angrily unclasping her tennis bracelet. She starts taking off earrings, putting the jewels in front of her like getting ready for a pawn shop visit. Valentina is. Rising with me as I move away from the table is my mother. Her voice goes to a whisper. Please give it some thought again. Just once here. We may arrange something for later. I go to confront her. Her look tonight reflects actual feeling rather than social pretense for the first time. Fear hides in the creases surrounding her eyes. Not just worry about the payment, but about losing me too. This is not about money, I explain softly but firmly. It relates to respect. Not even by family will I be exploited. particularly not by family. She flinches as if I had hit her, but the words have to be said. Turning, I notice my image in the elegant mirror of the restaurant. The lady turning back at me stands erect, her gaze clear and certain. For the first time all evening, maybe for the first time in years, I really identify. I'll be sitting with my team tomorrow, people who respect my ideas and who work rather than control. Those who have consistently respected me instead than assuming it from genetic relationship. My mother's hand clutches my elbow as I get to the door. She says, her voice smaller than I have ever heard, "Not leaving like this." Her eyes, so similar mine in hue but not in conviction, search my face for pity. Feeling the paper-thin skin that suggests her approaching years, I wrap her hand with mine. My voice softening, I tell her, "This cycle has to stop. When you're ready, I'm ready to chat simply you and me. However, new policies are needed. Respect, integrity, and no money coercion." She nods slightly and swallows fiercely. "When you're ready, call me," I add, once more gripping her hand and releasing it. I enter the chilly night air by pushing through Belmont's hefty glass door. The family drama is still playing behind me. Before of me stretches an evening unexpectedly free of duty, a future recovered one barrier at a time. The door stays open behind me both practically and symbolically, but only those ready to meet me on equal footing will be welcomed on the other side. I pace toward my vehicle, my heels clicking on the ground. After the stifling indoors, the nighttime air seems pure. Behind me, I hear the restaurant door slamming open. Valentina's voice leaps off the parked vehicles. "Ralph is, I keep going. My key fob is in grasp. Freedom is 20 steps away." "You dare move away," his feet accelerating to catch up to me. "You are no longer a member of this family." The words are supposed to hurt, to ground me. 5 years in past, they may have. I slow down but turn nowhere. "See me while I speak to you." I turn, shoulders straight. Under the neon shine of the parking lot, Ralph's face is mottled crimson. Maeve runs after him, her high heels clicking fiercely on the ground. Many patrons remain close to the restaurant door, clearly seeing the scenario playing out. You unappreciative little Ralph shuts himself off and struggles to breathe. "You are who you believe yourself to be? I suppose I just wanted a regular family supper." My voice stays constant, a far cry from his growing loudness. Maeve comes to us little out of breath. "You already know this is not about supper." Mother shows up hesitating at the restaurant entrance. Her position stuck between her niece and nephew, and her sole daughter seems to be indecisive. Ralph runs his hand through his hair, a motion so evocative of my father that it renders me briefly disabled. Then his demeanor changes, deliberate worry taking place of unbridled wrath. Mom replies, voice lowering to an agitated whisper, "She has medical bills she cannot pay. Though it's critical, we wouldn't have asked." I glance beyond him to Mother, whose eyes fall short of mine. This supper wasn't just about piling me with a hefty bill. The last piece falls into place. It served as the forerunner to a far more ambitious financial appeal. Maeve says, her voice honey-sweet once more, "We wouldn't ask if it wasn't serious. Family aids, family, Valentina." A pair walking by slows down, pretending not to pay attention. I hold off until they are out earshot. I repeat gently, "There are other ways to beg for aid than manipulation. Should Mom have medical problems, I would be the first to find out about them." At last, Mother walks up, her ruby pendant striking the streetlight. "Just some tests, honey. Nothing to be concerned about. Most of it is covered by insurance." Less than Ralph's wrath, the treachery hurts. From the start, Mother was on this plan, negotiating with her health as a tool. I inhale deeply and balance decades of family history against this moment. "Mom, we can talk about your medical issues separately. I would be ready to assist with reasonable expenditures." "See?" Ralph storms in. "She's affordable." I raise a hand to shut him off. "I was not in conversation with you." Maeve gets forward. "Here we are. Family all around." Supporting family does not imply allowing negative conduct, I respond. Family doesn't treat one other like this. Showing here tonight and seeing you want to use me as your personal ATM. I go inside my handbag and get a business card to show Mother. She accepts it with quivering fingers. Phone me tomorrow. Just you, I instruct her. I then look at Maeve and Ralph. Figure out your own bill tonight. You cannot be serious, Maeve sputters. I am also, and I would think about assisting if Mom wanted to be honest about her medical state. I won't be manipulated once again, however. I turn to go. Their gaze weighs heavily on my rear. You believe you are better than right now? Ralph yells, his voice resonant over the parking lot. I stop to think about his query. Are I? It would be natural to believe given my profitable company and financial freedom. But that's hardly it at all. I turn to check my shoulder. Not quite different, but that's all right. The basic truth drops into quiet water like a stone. Ralph opens his lips silently, then shuts. Beside him, Maeve collapses onto a neighboring seat, her facade totally broken. Her whole effort to keep appearances vanishes in an instant. Mother freezes between us, her eyes flickering from me to Ralph and Maeve. I see what you see.